wait till we go on the air and start. Okay. Oh, Father in heaven, we come this morning just asking for your strength, for your knowledge, for your wisdom, Father, to talk about these topics that we have this morning, Father. We ask that you will just allow us to be just as open as your word instructs us to be, that we might prevail, that we might display, that we might give the world something to look forward to, just some form of guideline. Touch this panel and all who might come in and be a part of it this morning. It's in the name of Jesus that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Got a little echo, DJ. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Rowlett Friendship Baptist Church for real. This morning, our very own Reverend Antoine Smith is out working, but in his stay, we have PJ,
Yes,
Butcher
sir.
Boy,
Yes,
Purvis Jenkins with us this morning. Welcome, Brother Jenkins.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
One of them Jenkins
Jenkins boys. Pleasure to be here this morning. I do appreciate the invitation, and hopefully I can add to the conversation and bring some enlightenment to a few topics that I have in mind. So I'm hoping I can do well.
We got one request.
What's that?
Don't hold back.
Oh, you know I don't.
Don't hold back.
I work with you every day. You know I don't hold back on that.
Yeah. I have to let y'all know this. PJ, his name is Purvis, but I call him PJ all the time.
My name is Purvis.
Purvis and I talk Bible all day, every day.
Yes.
And my most common phrase to him is, look it up.
Look it up.
He has 1,000 questions, and I'll give him plenty of time to get his question out. And my very next question is, look it up.
Look it up.
I just want to let you know that I enjoy the conversations that we have on a daily basis. You keep me grounded, and PJ has a nickname for me. I'll let you get around to that when you when you get ready. But
is it always think you right? Always think you right.
Sometimes.
AT. I'll get those.
Yeah. Get to work on that. Good one. Good morning, Pastor. How are you?
I'm good. And for those who don't know, that's Mother Jenkins.
Mother Jenkins.
Yes.
Son.
Baby boy.
Yes, I'm the baby boy.
Oh, you the baby boy.
Yes, sir.
That's why she be. No,
You can't say small. Mother Jenkins boy. You can't say small and big. You just have to say baby boy. You doing all right this morning, Pastor?
I am doing well this morning. Looking forward to these. I think these topics you have going to carry us probably for the whole month of June.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to.
They are pretty.
How you and Amber are challenging our minds and our thoughts for the next month, as if we didn't have any more challenging things to do.
Exactly. But I think it's time that the church stand up and stand alone. We are too wishy-washy. I mean, we've lost that church atmosphere that I grew up with. The church don't hold people accountable anymore. The church is more trying to be inclusive than exclusive.
What is it called? A brimstone fire?
Yeah. The fire and brimstone is gone. I mean, there was a time when the church held you accountable for what you did. Whether it was right or wrong, it still held you accountable. And now we're just trying to make sure that people feel included.
That's the balancing act to be firm, but also, and this is amazing as we the church as we go through Galatians. Man, I have learned or am learning more things. I mean, we've been studying Galatians for 10, 15 years. I actually taught Galatians, but this next set through is key things that Paul is encouraging. Paul both is very stern. He also wants to put his hand around you and touch you and bring you back closer. So it's that balancing act. So too often we was fire and brimstone, and everybody's going to hell and all that stuff, and there was no love to it. So now we got to figure out. Now we went all the way to the right side that everybody get a participation trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, seventh place.
Eighth place gets a trophy, not a ribbon, but
a trophy.
Trophy.
Yeah.
So we got to be able to balance it out. And so I think for so many years it was to the left a lot. Now we're going way to the right. We got to find our base and our center. So that's the key, to do it in love and actually in great direction. And so.
Yeah, we have to find a way to not push people away. We have to find a way more so to bring people in. But we still have to bring them in with truth.
Exactly.
We can't bring them in with a lie and say that, you can live this way, but you can't be this way. you got to bring them in completely truthfully. This is how you have to live. If you plan on serving, you plan on worshiping, you plan on being a good Christian, you plan on being a man or woman of God, this is how you have to live. You can't be wishy-washy. You can't go up and down with it. It's either 100 or nothing.
Okay. Well, on that note, on that note, we're going to go into this morning's topic. Can't be scared this morning, fellas.
No, sir.
Can't be scared this morning. We're just going to jump right in. Our topic this morning is applying biblical texts to modern society. And I'm going to read this here to get y'all's blood pumping. It says, the cultural traditions of the Bible are radically different than today's social norms. So, question of the day, how do we use Scripture to address the current issues such as gender roles, gay marriage, abortion, immigration reforms, and gun control? That's what we want to talk about this morning. How do we as Christians tell the world that, or should I say, get the world in line with the Bible on how God feels about these issues? Let's start out with gender role. What do y'all think about gender role? Also this morning, behind the scenes, he didn't want to be on camera this morning. We're gonna have Deacon Rouse. We're gonna have Deacon Rouse in and out because he's very, he our social butterfly. So Deacon Rouse, anytime, you got your mic. Anytime, you just come in. You ready now? Oh, okay, Pastor. You want to start us out this morning with gender roles?
And I'll take this as when you're talking gender roles in a marriage. Are you coming from the gender roles or just gender roles in particular?
Let's hit it from both sides.
All right, so let's start from a point where when God created the world and its inhabitants, for those who don't know, I believe in there's a two-part to creation.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part where he created male and female,
right,
and told them to go and do that thing. The second creation was he put man in the perfect situation so that we can know that even in the perfect situation we will fall. That's Adam
exactly.
and Eve. So
right.
And those who want to challenge that,
I'm with you on that one.
One day we'll have this whole, and I know because you've been around me too long. So
yeah.
And so when he did that, when he said, he says, I create you male and female. And he says that the idea of this combination was a military tag team that to go together and they work together. Matter of fact, when we talk about this bond that they have together is always talking about in the original text as a military team.
Right.
That when you go there, I don't need everybody to be rifleman. I need somebody to have to shoot missiles. I can't have everybody be missile because I need somebody up front. Everybody can't be an airplane pilot, but all together, collectively, the Army, the Air Force, the Marines, and of course, what makes everything go, the Navy.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh wow.
But we laugh about that. But each one of those have to have a specific part to play. And again, this is a long way around. So there is work for both the male and female. And he does not say in the Bible that says this particular role is just for women.
Right.
As he gets into the role, he says, as we start developing marriage, yeah, there are some things that women do better than men and men do better than women. There are some times when the woman is to teach and all that and to make sure the household runs well. That does not say specifically that says, I know a person who can manage Fortune 500 and manage her household at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Proverbs says that a woman who can work both. Read the Proverbs. It says a woman that can both do what? Work in the home and can actually do outside the home. We missed that in the Proverbs. He writes all the way down and does well with the affairs outside of the home. So this idea of these gender roles, I really hate the gender roles because we start saying Archie Bunker mentality. Well, you need to be at home, clean the dishes, and do all those things. And it does not say that biblically. It says that you guys work together. And so there are some women in the Bible who Jezebel.
Did great things.
Jezebel comes to mind who overstepped her authority because she had a man that allowed her to overstep the authority. And so long story short, we just talk about gender roles.
Uh-huh.
The Bible does not speak specifically about gender roles.
Right.
It says that you go and the one thing he told you to do, he said, go ye therefore and multiply.
Yes.
Now, how you decide, well, first of all,
No.
first of all, that gets to your other thing, but,
Yeah.
but the idea of, to me, and both of y'all can think about this, have you ever found in the Bible where they specifically gives, and we'll come back around here, it just tells the man to be the head of the house, the head of the woman, as Christ is head of the church.
Right.
Now, let's take that analogy, head of the church, as Christ is head of the church. Are there roles that the church, no, he says that you guys go and do this. Let your light so shine, do all these things, but he does not say
Baptize
that.
and
He says, and Paul clarified, some he gives this, and this. He didn't say that you have to be this, you have to be this, you have to be that. So I'll turn it with you guys
Wow,
and
wow.
let y'all
What do you
guys
think,
run
Peter?
with that.
Well, I definitely believe that the pastor's definitely right on that. As far as gender roles, I don't believe that a woman can't do the same things as a man in certain aspects, and a man can't do the same things as a woman. But I also do believe that there are certain things that a man needs to be.
Yes.
He definitely has to be a protector of his household.
yeah.
I think he definitely needs to be looked at as the provider of his household. With those two things being in mind, if you're protecting that home, that means you protect everything around that home, in that home, which includes family, which includes the wife, the children, the bills. You protect everything in that home. You protect, and when it comes to your wife, you definitely protect her in more ways than just a physical protection. You have to protect her spiritually. You have to protect her mentally. You have to protect her socially, emotionally. So it's a lot of that. So I believe that gender role specifically should really be deemed towards a man. That's just my humble opinion on that. That a man should be that protector. He should be that provider. He should be looked at in that light, as to say he's definitely a protector of the household. He provides the things that needs to be in the household. He does all of those things, but he does that under the mercy and the grace of God alone. If he doesn't have that, then you can't lead if you never learn to
Amen.
follow.
Amen.
Right,
Amen.
right. Yeah. I mean, that's something I've heard all of my life. How can you lead if you don't know how to follow? But okay. What about when it comes to the multiplying?
Okay.
Well, before we go,
I know you.
before we get to the multiply, I want to do this because this is amazing. This is interesting because this is I give kudos to CYA for taking on this for the last 2 episodes. And if you haven't seen it, go back and look at that, how they dealt with it. It's the idea that when we talk about head of the household, that does not mean I got to do everything. I got to be that. You said something. He protects. Husband is that band around the house that makes sure the house stays together. Now watch this. As a good leader, you understand what your weaknesses are.
Right.
You understand the stuff that you can't do and can't handle. I can still provide everything for my family, but I don't have to do everything.
Exactly.
And we get this right. The idea is that Joyce can run a household because I delegate that to her, because I let her do it. Not saying they do, we equally do it. We equally do it, but what I try to say, it says that if Joyce pays the bills better than I do,
Yes.
she pays the bill better than I do. If Joyce brings in more money than I do, she brings more money than I do. But the idea of I still control what goes on in that, I mean, I'm still responsible for that. I said it this way, I says, finance does not dictate roles in the house.
No.
Exactly.
all.
Exactly. You know.
It doesn't. You don't become dominating in what it does. And I think we have been so to this point where we have mistreated women for so long that coming out of that mistreating them, we've kind of overcompensated and said that now we got to define different things. It should be defined. It says that I had a conversation with somebody this week or last week. Whatever's right for that household is what's right for that household. You cannot define and say this is how our household should run. How Robinson runs his household is different than Edison, and how Edison does different than Jenkinson. How y'all do it, and we can sit here in 4 ways. And what I hate about it is, oh man, you wrong. You this ain't sports. We can't argue about what team is good. This is a marriage. Whatever works in that relationship is what it is. And so we dictate says, well, man, she make money more than you, man. Man, she run the house. So no, she don't.
You know, I have to use my marriage as an example. We battle with that who's better at what than what. But we finally sat down to reality. And I my wife is more in tune with paying bills before the due date. I'm one of them people that's, as long as it get paid.
Yeah.
As long as it get paid, don't be pushing me, It ain't, and it has nothing to do with the availability of money. It's just when I feel like doing it.
Yeah.
So we come to the conclusion that there are some things in the house that she's more in tune with doing. She's better. Just simple. She's better at doing them than I am. And then there's some things in the house that I'm just flat better at doing than she is. I am better at following her instructions than she is at following mine. Okay, so I follow. But, we have to work that out within the individual family, like within the individual contract, within the individual marriage, we have to make, but it's the man's duty to be able to keep that in balance.
Yeah. And this is the thing about it. Robinson, I think it was on Tuesday, they read, what was it, 1955? It was 1955. And listen at the role of the woman in 1955. It's just amazing that her role was make sure the house is quiet, make sure the meal is ready, make sure that house is cleaned up and all this. Make sure you keep everything for, because he has just left for hard work and dealing with people. It says make sure you look good. Make sure.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I mean,
it was this whole line of stuff, and ideally we have made that our framework, and that's the struggle about this modern day and antique lifestyle. And so now, if there are some people that still hold that the husband goes to work and the woman is at home, and it works well for them. They've learned to live that way. But if we live in a lifestyle that offers us opportunity to do dual things, it does not say that that's wrong. And I think we try to come back to the Bible and say, "Oh, it's just what." No. Paul says two things about this. He says, the husband to render due benevolence, do love to the wife, and the wife do love to them. So if y'all are loving, I couldn't care less. I think, man, again, when I moved to Dallas, I left New Orleans, moved here. Joyce was working, and I moved here. We got married, so she had got her degree. She's all that. So Joyce, our first 6-7 years of our marriage, she made way more than me. But the decision in the households was still said, hey, we come together in a tough situation. The man stepped in and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go this way, because I was following God and she was following me, and so she knew that we would pray about it and we'll do these things. And so it took her a while to kind of understand that how we did it. But it works for us, man. That's just how it's amazing that Joyce paid the bills all the way through college. The night I graduated,
she turned it over.
She turned the checkbook over. I graduated on a Tuesday. That Friday, I had the checkbook in hand with the envelopes and the stamps. That Friday, she said, "Oh yeah, you okay? Now you can take this over," and I gladly did it. And so the idea is that we understand how those things work.
Right.
And for the next, that was year 6 of our marriage. We've been married. So now I have to explain it. Hey, Joyce, you need to make sure that this is it. Because if I die, she hates this conversation. If I die, you need to da.
Yeah.
But don't die. But don't die.
But I don't think there is a woman alive that's in the men. I have to say that don't want a godly man in her presence.
Definitely not.
I just don't think women have gone through this phase, like you say. We begin to overcompensate for our mistakes. We took advantage of women for so long, and they say this doesn't have a cultural or racial or even color boundary. We all took advantage of women, and now like you said, Pastor, we're overcompensating. But I still say that every man-loving woman wants a God-fearing man in her life.
I think that most women that I've come along to in my lifetime, that I've met and conversated with, they look at a godly man way different than they look at the thug in the street.
Yeah.
They give him a lot more respect because he holds himself in a certain light, because as Christians, we are to be a light. You're supposed to see the God in me when you see me.
Yeah.
So when they see you, they automatically look at you like there's something different about him. I don't know what it is. I can't pinpoint it. But once they start talking to you, they figure it out real quick. Oh, he's a man of God. That's what makes him different than the guy who doesn't go to church, doesn't worship, doesn't pray, he's too busy in the streets. He's not worried about that. But when you have a godly man around you, you have no choice but to gravitate to it because God is going to pull that to you automatically.
Yeah, and if we just look at what you just said, it says that we're all striving to be that person that God has called us to be.
Absolutely.
None of us have arrived, but those who are striving is the key. It's the key that we are striving together, and there are going to be some hiccups along the way. And so yes, the Bible speaks about women as property, but God never says that a woman should be your property. He never put the woman behind the man or underneath the man. He says, I make you a helpmate. He never said, I make you a slave, I make you property. He said, I make you a helpmate. Our sinful nature allows some of that stuff to happen. So there's a lot of stuff the Bible talks about, but it never says this slavery is talked about in the Bible because we see it from Moses' time on that there was, but God never says that. He says, who I set free is free indeed. And so we see those instances in the Bible, and we can't say, well, they treat women like property. That was never their intention. Nothing in our life we see was God intended. Our sinful nature has to put a lot of stuff in place that we blame God. No, ever since the fall, and I keep saying the fall. You realize we had sin nature anyway, and again, God did something. God says, I want to show you guys something so that before you walk out there and say, well, if I had everything perfect, I would never sin.
No.
So
not true.
He took that excuse. He took that excuse right away by saying, yeah, I created male and female, but I want to show you something here. That in this case here, even when everything is perfect, you ain't got a word, you ain't got nothing. I made you the perfect woman. Now watch this for a second. He said, I made you the perfect woman. Go ahead, Rob.
Come on, Rob.
I think we also have to be careful, just for the audience, how we presenting it, because that doesn't necessarily apply to every woman that's out there. Like, I'm just going back on some of the things y'all said, and you start talking about how households are run and what works for folk. Different things work for different people, and I think the argument comes in when you start putting stuff in writing. Some people are okay.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
watch out now.
We doing a lot of stuff today that, you talked about that good wife guide. A lot of people are living by that right now, and they cool with living like that until you put it in writing and you start reading it, and then it doesn't really sound good. But they're doing it. They were doing it before. If you start taking some of the stuff that you and your spouse do, and you put it on paper and say, and you word it differently. Say, okay, she's gonna do this and this and this, and make sure you do that. She might have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Now in this new era, it's all about verbiage and how we say things.
You right,
and
Rob.
how things
Absolutely.
are perceived, regardless if it's being done like that or not. And then you start talking about women who they want a godly man. That's not true. All women are not looking for a godly man. If that was the case, the church would be packed. That's where they think that they're at.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
you got a lot of women who. They are looking for exactly what that good wife said. If you hold conversations with with a variety of women, a diverse group of women, you'll hear some say, hey, look, I just want me a rich dude who can pay everything. And guess what? When you come to the crib, I had the house clean and the food cooked, whatever. It's some folk who are looking for that. So it just depends on where you are in your life. Now, we teaching this from a biblical standpoint that says, this is the true interpretation and not this. And so if we push that out like that, then that's fine. But you have to be sure that you make folk understand. There's some folk watching right now who, they just not as interested. Christians bore some people, even women. If you have not arrived in your life at that point to where you're ready to live like that, then it doesn't really interest you. So you got a multitude of things that are going on right there. And I think in the modern time, we have gotten very careful with how we speak when it comes to women, and when you start trying to define roles and all that, because now, there's so much at stake when we speak. Folks' job is at stake when you speak about a woman a different way, in a certain way, or a gender in a certain way. Have to be very careful. So I want to make sure we put a pin in that says, there are different folk in different places in their life that are looking for different things, and those folk on this side that are trying to live in that biblical sense, where we're addressing this as such to say, there's been some misinterpretation along the way.
Well, do you
and
think
this is how
we
wanna
got
break
there
that up.
through the overcompensation portion of it?
Yeah. I think we just kind of skipped out though on, I want to make sure we don't ever skip out on some folk who are not really living like that.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
No, because when you said something, I started thinking, when you put it in writing, it changes.
Yeah.
Now, watch
everything
it.
changes.
Now, we said that about the
Everything
women. Now, when you start talking about, I'll pay your bills, I'll wash your clothes, the baby face part of for men. Look here. Wait a minute, hold on. All this.
I don't want to do that.
It sounds good in the song until you start putting it. No.
Right.
No.
I can go right over here and she don't even require all that.
Yeah, that's right. So you're right. We have this idea that stuff we will and won't do, but as long as it's in our mind, it's there. But when we start, like you said, it's amazing. You could be doing it, but then you put it on paper that you're doing this. It just changes the whole focus that we think we live in a certain way, but when you start writing down what you do, it's like, man, let's us read what you're doing. Yeah. Man, I can't believe you're doing that. Why you doing all this, man?
Yeah.
She got you handpicked, or you this and that.
Wow.
So
correct.
So you're right. As long as people can't read what you're doing, it's a different perspective. But you're right. There are people who are looking for a thug.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't want, because they think the thug is gonna give them the life that they need. And I don't need this person who is this way, and so.
Or just looking for security, what some folk consider security. And I don't want us to get that impression that like, oh, if you live like this, that's because this the type of dude you. It's some highly successful businessmen that, just kind of treat their wives like concubines, and the wives are perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you have that.
Because of the lifestyle.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So everybody is choosing how they want to. A lot of difference now in modern society is there are so many more choices. So now people they have more opportunity to choose how they want to live.
Yes.
Versus when you go back in these days, things were kind of set.
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, this is the standard of what's expected. Now, you can't really have any expectations because the world is wide open to you. This is from the worldly view. So you got to make sure there's a separation between the worldly view and biblical view of how we should be doing things.
No,
or how.
Right, and we raise our children that way. What you just said, it says that, 30, 40 years ago, women went to church, went to school. I would say, a good majority of them went looking for a husband so that they can live a certain way. Now, even when I talk to my girls, like, look here, you go to school to get your degree to be independent. It's simply how we talk. Back 50 years ago, they were teaching girls how to do. You went to home economics, and you went to school to be.
It was taught in school.
Yeah.
You went to school to be a teacher or something like that. I mean, now it's wide open. You got engineers. You got
Correct.
all the degree plans now. So that, hey, women get an extra. I mean, if you want to be, a science engineer. Hey, there's some scholarship for women to be. Why? Because of the diverse. But like you just said, we've even started to change from how we teach and how we do those things, because we look at it from. We can have all the Christian values that we want to have, but how we raise our children is a different mindset from how it was in 1950.
Right.
Because now we're not saying that you're gonna be a suited homemaker.
Right.
Now,
the piece to that is, as we evolve, as a human race, and you have so many now opportunities, the equalness is challenged between men and women. But on the other side of that, the Bible remains the same.
Yeah.
So now you have the choice, human choice of saying, well, now I'm questioning this Bible thing, because now, things have changed here. Somebody needs to, Jesus needs to come, God needs to do some updates.
You need to update this.
I've heard somebody say that we need a revision of the Bible.
And watch this. And Amber says that what it overlooks is the idea of love. And that's why the first thing I started with
love
was
has nothing to do with
1
it anymore.
Corinthians 7, 3 and 4, when he tells the husband to render the wife due benevolence, and then the husband do the same thing. I mean, when you love somebody, when you truly love somebody, and there's not nothing you wouldn't do for them. And so within that balance of love, you know, love make us do stuff that we normally wouldn't do. I know Holly Berry said something. Love should make you come home, but I'll take Holly Berry. I'll agree with Holly Berry. Love makes you do stuff that you normally wouldn't do. I mean, you've counseled some stuff. You told some people, nah, I'm not. There's some stuff that you would do that you wouldn't do. And so what when we start writing it out, and we take out, I think when you write something out, marriage and gender role is based upon. Gender role means that there is no specific thing that you can't do. When we talk about this relationship in the marriage and in that role, and if you're out doing each other in love, that's nothing you mean. My dad told me, he said something, I guess I was within 4 or 5 years of my marriage. And he says, if you both are trying to outlove one another.
Wow.
Yes.
How great is how great? And you're not worried about losing out on anything. You just worried about loving somebody. If you just loved it, that what we get frustrated is that, you know, and this is human, that if I think I'm loving you more than you loving me,
Yes, that normally is a problem.
I don't think that ever comes up in a marriage.
I
I'm gonna outlove you.
No, watch this. What happens is we think we are doing one another. Man, I'm out here doing all this and you ain't doing nothing.
Oh yeah, that's
Now
generally
that
the way it
comes
goes.
up.
Now, they're doing it because they love. This is where the whole piece come in as that if I'm done out of love, love says I don't expect anything back. But I'm sorry, in my own, maybe it's just me. Maybe y'all keep praying for me. I love my wife, but when I'm thinking and she's quite right. If Joyce is cooking every day and cleaning, I'm coming home not doing nothing. Oh yeah, she'll get upset.
Yes,
So, but the idea is that if I'm loving her and trying to please her, I'm trying to do those things, and she doing the same thing for me. Then it becomes just so natural that you do those things. But again, we have this idea again of what we think it should be.
Try to outlove
so,
my
so
wife.
so I know.
I'm gonna have to introduce that.
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
That's got to come in the house.
That was coming in. I'm gonna try to outlove you today.
I'm gonna outlove you today.
Yeah, I'm gonna outlove you.
Regardless of what you do, I'm gonna outlove you.
I'm gonna outlove you.
Now watch this. When
That
you do
ain't
that,
it, yeah.
when you do that, you
gotta
can't you can't get
It's wishy-washy.
you can't get mad.
No.
You can't get upset.
Because love don't get angry.
Because then you go take a walk around the house, around the block, and like, ooh, this is hard. I'm like, no, what
I think we should focus on that. I mean, surely we want that to be in a part of our marriage. That we try to outlove each other. But I think before one introduces that to his marriage, he need to look at all the angles, because that's not going to be an easy task.
No, because love looks over a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Love forgives it. I mean, the
Love
First
don't have
Corinthians
feelings.
13th chapter is powerful when we start talking about love, because it's just about outpour. Has nothing. You know, it never comes back. It's always out. And so it's not envious. It's not upset. It doesn't call wrong. It doesn't laugh. It doesn't enjoy. It does all of this stuff.
Wow.
And so when the moment you get upset, angry, jealous, upset,
You gotta start over.
It lists them all out there. But this is so much about marriage. But bottom line is, there is no task specifically given to the woman, no task specifically given to the man, except for this, that the man is over the woman, but not as if that he owns the woman. But anything you have, military-wise, you always got somebody to lead and somebody to follow.
I think it's another. When it comes to reproduction, we got to get there, yo. We have got to get there. We have got to get to the reproduction part of it.
Well, I just want to lay
The
that out
multiplying.
because you started by the
Well, I mean, I get
No,
get why a woman wouldn't want a man over her.
Wait. That's biblical. That's
yeah.
biblical.
Oh, D.
Yeah.
That was good.
One of the things that happened after the
fall?
he
Yeah.
came out of the garden. He says the woman will
Will
want to
desire
desire the head of the
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And that is so true because all of us have a desire to lead.
He won't talk about
And
it.
everybody has a desire. Everybody has a desire to lead. That's just innate in us. You know, even the one who we say that's a follower, at some point they want to lead. And so now you're saying that there's a structure that God put together.
Yeah.
And Tony Evans says this. God is not blessed, but in a structure. He says, now that we got the structure out of order, it didn't say that the man rules over the woman. He's up over the woman. It's a difference there. It's a difference.
Yeah,
He says that when you have a household where the woman is ruling, the kids are ruling the husband, and the husband is just at home playing video games, ain't doing nothing,
Oh, wow.
God will not bless out of order.
Right.
If he says he wants everything decent and in order, what makes you think he's going to bless anything out of order? So I want us to get this mindset that it's not about who makes the most, it's not about who does something better. It's just the order that says, man, you are to be the husband. You are to hold everything together. If marriage is failing, if kids out of order, it's the husband's
It's the
fault.
husband's fault.
It's the husband.
But what if it ain't a
is the
husband in the
band.
house?
The last part of that is band. To hold together the household. It does not say that you're the smartest person in the household, you this, but you hold everything together because then you realize what the kid needs, what the mama needs. So you're making sure you know what you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
A general does not go out there and fight all the battle, but a general know how to put people in the right place to be successful.
To be successful. Yeah.
And the best generals always show their face to their employees.
Oh,
Yes.
So
right.
It's always present. It's always
And
there.
it
You
keeps
don't want
a,
nobody
keeps a
you'll never see.
relationship with them.
So I know you're trying to get to your part, but that's the piece that when we look at this,
I mean, okay. When
the
we talk
gender role.
about
I mean, again, the gender role, which now comes to your
reproduction. That I think that, I mean, especially with the tools that I have as a man, I don't think I'm capable of reproducing. But yet and still, we have these different relationships where there's two men in the house raising a child, two women in the house raising a child. How does that work for God?
It
doesn't.
doesn't. It works.
It does.
It works in the society because society allows it. Robinson had a shirt on a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
It says what it says. We are pregnant, but she
But
does.
mostly her. Mostly her. Yeah.
It's the idea is that when we talk about specific gender roles in a marriage, it takes both male and female to create what God has commanded us
Period.
to do. And so you just said the idea is that now, how to say this? I want to say like Paul says. Paul said Jesus says this first. Jesus says he shines on the good and the bad.
Right.
So God's blessings are out there for it to fall upon everybody. And so we sometimes think of success in America to be the right thing, that God does not work necessarily in success. And so it might work, but that's not God's intent for that to work that way.
Well, now in this reproduction thing, let's jump past the physical part of it because we know it's just when it comes to having babies, there's some things men can't do, some things women can't do. But I'm talking about the mental, the spiritual mindset that we're teaching this child that's being raised by same-sex couples. I mean,
Well, then I think you would have to go into certain books of the Bible that speak specifically on that, such as Leviticus.
okay.
It tells it directly, and I have it right here. It says, "Thou shalt not lay with mankind as he would lay with womankind." It's an abomination. You have to teach your child that. A child doesn't know, just like a child doesn't know racism. A child doesn't know sexuality. It's just not something that they say, "Well, I was born gay." I don't truly believe that. I don't think so. I believe that, you're taught certain things, or you see certain things, or you're influenced by certain things, or things happen in your life that lead you in that direction. But if you have someone there to guide you and to show you that, no, that is not godly, that is not a godly path, then you can kind of get around it. If you don't have that in your life, which a lot of people growing up in this society look at what's traditional in America being okay, is not okay biblically. So you got to have something there to give you that same structure, which goes back to what we were talking about earlier, the role of the husband, to give that structure.
And I was going to use Sister Yvette Smith's statement. It says that some people are looking for a godly man, but don't know what that means.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And so when she says
because they've
that,
never seen it.
and watch this, based upon what she's been taught or they've been taught, they say it's this kind of way or this way, and you could be teaching them to go into a person who is wrong. Everything that is innate in us is taught.
Yeah.
When I say
Yeah.
innate, that's the stuff that we kind of pick up. that you know, I did a funeral for my uncle. Why do I like the Cowboys and the Tigers and I grew up a Philadelphia 76er fan that changed to Mavericks later on. It's because my uncle, when I grew up, we watched Cowboys every Sunday was on. We watched the Tigers every Saturday. And so because I saw that, we watched this, how my influence on marriage is how my uncle married. I saw them doing stuff. I saw that. And so that gave me an impression of what it was to be who I am. And so that's the idea of when a person is raised in a racist home, he picks up racism.
Gonna be racist. Yeah.
And then as they get older, they start to make a choice then whether I allow that to define who I am or not. And so it's just like this whole nobody is born a racist, nobody's born gay. No. All these things are choices that we actually make by what we are influenced by. Because I've seen it too often. I've seen a boy play with toys and trucks and be this guy, this dude. But then as life he starts to figure out some other stuff in life. Now he turned into this other person when he's older. Because why? Because now he's being influenced by more of these things, and children now are exposed to way too much stuff, way too much stuff, way too early in life.
I think it's when it comes to it, it's about acceptance. If I was accepted in the in crowd, if I was football player, athlete, or I was popular in school, I'm accepted by that crowd. But if I wasn't, but I was accepted by this homosexual, lesbian, gay crowd, they're more friendly towards me than these guys are. I'm not the greatest basketball player. I might have I was raised by a mom and all sisters. So I have a feminine trait because I was around that all my life. My dad wasn't there. I never had any uncles. So when I got around the guys who were raised with dads and uncles and they were upstanding guys, they shunned me. But this crowd over here didn't. Yeah. So I was accepted here. So by being accepted here, I gravitated to it.
And again, when you tell a child when they're 1 year old, you don't have to choose male or female. You can just be who you want. A 1 year old is confused as it is.
Automatically.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, Pastor, because I got a question that I've been needing to ask for way before we got to this topic. How is it that a 5 or 6 year old has got enough, what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever the word is that goes in that spot to be able to make a choice about their own sexuality?
Because it's what is poured into them. It's what, again, when you watch TV and the cartoons tell you that you can be whatever you want. I grew up watching G.I. Joe and to go do these things, football, so that was always my influence. But now you got these things that can't tell if it's a girl or boy, can't do all this and can't do all this, and you leave that choice up to them. It says train up a child in the way that you train up. And it says, when you look at that term, it says build up in them, guide them, structure them, put them, why? Because they will, from the ages of 2 to 5, they learn more information, of 1 to 5, they learn more information during that period of time than their entire life. So we put a lot of stuff in them, and so
touch on Sister Smith, that last question she got, because I think that's a question that needs to be out. It says, so being gay or lesbian is taught from the parents. Is this influenced by straight parents?
Well, I
don't think it necessarily falls on the parent. I don't think the parents can be held responsible for all of the influence.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this to all you guys while we're in church. How much information did you learn in the house or outside of the house?
You learn
most
more
of it came from outside.
Who had more influence on you, your parents or your people on the outside?
My friends.
People on the outside.
My friends.
And how many times did y'all sneak some books y'all weren't supposed to sneak or saw some stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Countless.
And we had all this conversation.
They got the internet now.
We had all this conversation.
Yeah.
I just want to try to tell you, we got around this idea of, our sexuality was not learned in the house.
No.
Oh, no. Oh. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Sister
I see adults teaching children. Okay.
I see adults teaching children about their sexuality, and because the parent is a hero influence to the child, now they think they want to lead the same life.
True.
Because what has happened, you're right, Ever, because when you say this, it says that we have certified bona fide Christians who are saying it's okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
to be whatever you want to be.
And it's
God
not.
is pleased, and I want somebody
God
to tell
loves everybody.
I want somebody to tell me in this where God is pleased with any sin in the Bible.
I ain't saying
So you want? I don't want to miss anybody out. I don't want to miss anybody out on this. He says that he does not like sin. Why gay and lesbian is an abomination to him? Because you're going against his total creation.
Mm-hmm.
From Old Testament to New Testament, he calls it an abomination a couple of times because the abomination says you were created male and female, and so you are spitting in my face when you said that my creation
wasn't right.
wasn't right, and that you're going to supersede my creation. You're going to supersede my creation.
Okay, I need to stick this in there. Something I saw on the news. I didn't get all of it, so if I don't quote it right, y'all just go to the news. As I was walking out of the house this morning, they were doing a news. Come on, give me a hint.
Broadcast?
Doing a broadcast. What we doing? Doing a broadcast on these women are trying to get the word gay removed from the insurance policies because right now the way the insurance companies look at it is if you are gay, then you have a mental disorder. They are trying to get that removed from if you are a gay person.
Yeah.
That they're trying to get it removed from being a mental problem.
Mental health issue.
Well,
Yeah, thank you, Peter.
Well, and now Sister Claudia also says that, and we got to think about this. What if being taught in schools?
And they're starting to do that.
Yeah.
You know,
They're
It
starting
is.
to teach these classes
They're
in our
teaching
schools.
it.
From K to 12, the curriculum has changed, and then to speak against it is
Not accepted.
is bashing. And again, this is where we gotta be alert on how we do this. And again, because we cannot say that we cannot just single out one thing that's wrong because gay marriages, shacking, killing, lying, and all that. But when we pinpoint this idea of gay is a lifestyle, you might lie this moment, lie that moment, lie this moment, but gay lifestyle is that you live it 24/7.
Every day.
Yeah.
So you never come out of it. And so when we start talking about this, and again, this is a topic that I want everybody to know Christ. I don't want to push the gays away. I don't want to push it away because that's what Galatians talks about. It's the Galatians hits this very hard. And Jude says in the shortest, he says, not only if we do that, we pour gasoline on them and push them further away.
Yeah.
And so the church has a way of saying, just like anybody who says that it's a different way. A guy keeps showing them Christ. God keeps showing them, you should invite gay people to church
Yeah.
so that they might hear the word and change their lifestyle. Not that we start celebrating them and doing all those things. We never celebrate the sin. I don't know, we celebrate all this other stuff, but we don't celebrate that kind of, you don't go out and just celebrate a mass murderer.
No, not at all.
So the idea is that you have to be in the teaching mode of that you got to love the person and hate the sin.
Yes. Whew. Amber, what is that Amber got? The Texas Middle School just, come on, bro. Your mic on? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So also, you go back and you when they asked Jesus, what he thought about Caesar, and what did he say? He said, "Give unto Caesar what is Caesar.
Render Caesar what is Caesar."
Give unto God what is God's." Now you're in this new day and era where, that meaning it's taken a new toll now because now man law is superseding God's law. And so now you start talking about what's being taught or how to teach or what you can teach. You first got to realize that you are this is a war, at this point. And so now the decision is, how far are you willing to go for what you believe in? Because now everybody is so protective of, their homes, their household, their careers, the stability, the comfort zone that you have. People are backing off from, preaching and saying, hey, this is, if you make the choice that you are living, according to the Bible, then it's cut and dry, But at the same time, you have folk that are not going to push that issue, and they're living for Christ behind closed doors because, pushing that issue put you in the middle of fire in the world. And there are some costly things. You start thinking about when we start talking about 9/11 and all of those things, people were dying for whatever their belief was. You know, that they had their minds made up that the cause was greater than whatever was going on in the world.
Right.
Now, you know, dying is like, I mean, you mean, and I ain't never coming back? You know, no, I'm not. So people now are very timid as to how they approach things. They're very skeptical, saying, "Hey, man, you know, I'm with this biblical thing, I'm with this God thing. Now it's a God thing and a biblical thing, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna try to push that on you. Live how you want to live, because there are so many potential consequences that come with using your voice for what you believe, religiously, or where you are spiritually. And so now that you're in a war and everybody is being in a position where you got to be forced to make a decision.
Because you're right, it's cancel culture. You know, because now if I'll use LeBron. LeBron said something. This is 3 or 4 years ago. What the lady said: just be quiet and play basketball. Go bounce the ball.
Shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
But
Shut up and
then now I've seen more people say stuff and then have to retract it. Say it. And it could be absolutely right, but if it's perceived to be something slight against somebody else, I could just say a basic thing, and then so the idea says that you hit it is a war, and in war there's casualties, and so what are you willing to? Believe it or not, we had this conversation this week as pastors in this city. That was a conversation Wednesday afternoon. Was what's the win? If we go out there and we push people away and all that, then Christ didn't come to make friends. Mm-hmm. He came to save and set the captives free. Then who wanted to come? Well, wanted to come. And that's something, you're right, Robson, it's a stance. But you might be standing all by yourself. And we sing a song, what they say, Lord, send me. If nobody else go,
I'll go if I have to go by myself.
Look here. Ain't too many people going by themselves no more.
No, nobody is. Nobody is. Okay, guys, we have actually run out of time. But PJ, thank you for coming.
No problem.
But I want to extend this. Next week, we're going to talk about the same thing. Because we didn't get near far enough into this. But I invite you to come back next week if time and situations permits. And because next week we'll have Reverend Smith back, and I need you and Reverend Smith.
Reverend Smith, we'll go at it.
I need y'all to be. That was my hope this morning. I forgot he had to go to work. But at any rate, thank you guys for your comments. Thank you for being on the panel. Sister Smith, Sister Chandler, Sister Bowman, Sister Green, all of y'all that commented on our YouTube. Come back next week because we're going to talk about this again.
Come with your comments.
We need them.
We'll try to see them and respond to them.
We are not going to let this topic go until we get to the bottom of it. So, God, we love you guys. Thank you again, panel. We'll see you back in 30 minutes. Are we going to have our camera today?
No, but I think it's a link to get to that.
In the
there'll
YouTube?
be a link in the YouTube.
Right, okay. This is first Sunday for us, y'all. There's a link in the YouTube that will link you to on Facebook. Okay, there's a link on Facebook because we're going to be at across the street visiting with Horizon Vineyard today. So you gotta watch what you're doing to be able to see us on camera today. But we love you. We'll see you back next week with this same topic. God bless you and thank you.